Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurmaeti from English Education at Tansa Mashiro, and in this video I will explain to you about my peer observation methodology for TESOL. And in this video I observe video from Anissa Nihatunihlah. Background information: course name, English language, descriptive text. Level, junior high school, 8th grade. Number of students, 38 students. Description of student. There are 38 students, 18 female and 20 male, age ranging from 13 until 15 years old. Objective: student will be able to understand the meaning or definition of descriptive text. The student will be able to compose oral and written descriptive text relate to animals, people, and objects. Skill focus: writing, grammatical structure. Lesson procedure: warm up. There are 1 minute. The teacher opened the class by greeting the student and asked about their condition, then continued by checking student attendance. Before entering into the explanation, the teacher asked the student to open the notebook. Presentation: 3 minutes. The teacher starts explaining the material by writing a definition of descriptive text on the whiteboard, and then the teacher interacts with student by asking who knows what descriptive text is. After that, the teacher gave an example by inviting students to play games about descriptive text. And then practice: 5 minutes. In this session, the teacher gave an example by inviting students to play games. The teacher will give card containing picture of animals, object, and other. And then the picture on the cards will be described by the student by giving clues relate to the picture. Then other students will guess it. Evaluation or assessment: 1 minute. The teacher asks students understanding, then gives students homework to create a text about describing something. Then the teacher ended the class by closing it. Reflection: did the teacher use communicative language teaching? What action or activities did you observe to support your answer? Yes, the teacher uses communicative language teaching because the teacher opens the class by asking about student condition. How much were the students involved in and engaged with the lesson? I think from start to finish, all students were involved in the learning activity because the teacher made a game that got all students involved in the lesson. Why did you notice about teacher talk time versus student talk time? I think they are the same because the activities carried out in class are doing games that require students to guess. Every time student give a clue or describes a picture on a card, the teacher will talk to other students by asking, "Can anyone guess?" Then they will talk or guess according to the clues that have been mentioned. What was the warm-up of the lesson? I don't think there is a warm-up in the class because the teacher only greets and checks attendance before the class starts. How was the new material presented? The teacher presented in the material quite well, although she did not verbally explain the definition of descriptive text directly. She only wrote the definition on the whiteboard, then asked the student to write it down. And the teacher went around supervising the student while they were writing. After that, the teacher immediately gave them an example by playing the game without explaining. How did the learners practice the new material? The students are only asked to guess about an object or animal that has been described by a friend. What Was there an evaluation? I don't think there was any evaluation. The teacher only asked, "Did you understand?" Then closed the lesson. In this space, write any final comment you have about the lesson you observed. My conclusion from this class is that the class begins with a greeting followed by the teacher asking how students are conditioned and checking attendance. There is no warming up in this class. The teacher starts the lesson by asking about the material, what is descriptive text, and then the teacher writes definition of descriptive text on the whiteboard, then asks student to write it without explaining it to student. But this class is quite active because of the nature of the teacher who provides learning by inviting students to play games so that the class doesn't feel boring and makes students interact a lot with the teacher. Peer observation report. The teacher does not focus on student writing abilities. The teacher uses cognitive language teaching, because from the beginning to the end, the teacher communicates actively with students. The teacher also asks student condition at the beginning of learning. At the beginning of the lesson, the teacher does not warm up the lesson. The teacher only greets us how are they conditioned and check attendance. The teacher provides material by writing material about the descriptive definition and asking students to write it without explaining and only directly giving example. Student activity can be seen in this class. Speaking activities in class are quite good. The teacher makes games with students by inviting two students as guide readers and other students as guessers. In games, making this class feel fun and more active, or participate more in class conversation. However, the teacher does not ask about students' understanding in depth, or the teacher only asks understand, and students simply answer yes. There is no evaluation process at the end of the class. The teacher only gives homework before closing the class. This is my PQP feedback prize. I appreciate the effort made during the process of making the learning videos. I also salute the mentality of the teacher Anissa Nihatunihla, who dares to teach even though it is difficult and is able to live up the class atmosphere. Question: has the teacher prepared the teaching materials? Polish: I hope the teacher can convey the material in more detail to students before or after giving examples so that students better understand the material being studied and provide an evaluation after the completion of the learning process before closing the class. That's all the peer observation report from me. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.